Hey everybody, Jay Sline here with Skills and Drills Training, and before we jump into this video, I need to make a quick disclaimer. So I realized as I was editing this, the video was going to be entirely too long, so I actually decided to break it up into 3 separate episodes. So that being said, to make sure that everything makes the most sense possible and to make sure that everyone's on the same page, make sure that you're watching this in chronological order. So you want to watch episodes 1 before episode 2, episodes 1 and 2 before episode 3. That way, all the terminology will flow together and all the episodes are going to build on each other to the end. So make sure you're watching them in order, and I hope you enjoy. So now that I've explained everything when it comes to setting your body up correctly to bunt, I just want to go through and talk about a couple other pointers. So whenever you're working on bunting at home, you can incorporate some of these and it'll help to improve your bunting by the time you're ready to take the diamond. So one of those topics is actually where to grip a bat and how to grip a bat properly for bunting. And this is something that, it seems like it's easy, it seems intuitive, but I just know from experience, from training a lot of people on how to bunt, that it's something that a lot of players get confused. So let's start with where to actually place the hand. I've seen everything from, they stay super close to their bottom hand to they start taking that lead hand all the way out to the center of the barrel. And really, the sweet spot is somewhere in between. You want to stay off of the barrel because we're using the barrel to actually contact the ball. So somewhere where that barrel starts to really taper down into the handle, that's where I want to put that lead hand. So on a wood bat, it would look something similar to this, where I'm on that Louisville logo there. If I was using a two-piece bat where the barrel's over top of the handle, that's a perfect spot to put your lead hand. And if I was using a connection-style aluminum bat, I would want to put my thumb right on that rubber connection piece. So that's how far down the bat I want to put that lead hand. Now when it comes to actually gripping a bat properly, let's see, I guess I could just use this one. So when it comes to gripping a bat properly, where I see a lot of people go wrong is they end up reaching over top of the bat. So their fingers are almost coming all the way around that barrel. And we don't want to do that because the ball is obviously coming from the pitcher, and I don't want to get my fingers in between the ball and the barrel. So it's super important to keep my hands behind the barrel. So there's a method that I teach to really keep that lead hand safe and make sure that the baseball doesn't contact it as you bunt. And the way that I teach that is you want to take the knuckle of your pointer finger, and that's what actually is supporting the weight of the bat. So the bat's actually sitting on top of that knuckle of your pointer finger, just like that. Then I want to take my thumb, and I put my thumb behind the bat. Notice how I'm not reaching up on top of the bat or out in front of the barrel. I'm putting it behind the bat. I hope you guys can see that, just like that. So now the knuckle of my pointer finger is supporting the weight of the bat, and my thumb is actually what's going to absorb the impact of the baseball. And from this position, I'm in a perfectly safe position. There's no way that that ball can actually contact my hand unless I'm way off target and the ball comes underneath of the bat and it hits me on the front of my right hand there. So that's by far the safest way to handle a bat when it comes to bunting. And of course, the safer you are, the more confident that player gets, and the more confidence he has, the more consistency he'll have when it comes to bunting. So we want to bring the lead hand down. We want to slide that lead hand down to just where that barrel starts to taper into the handle. I want the weight of that bat sitting on top of my knuckle of my pointer finger, and then I want the thumb behind the barrel, not on top of the barrel, not in front of the barrel, but behind the barrel in a formation something like this. Another super important tip that I don't think is often taught is how high off the ground the player should be holding the bat when he's getting ready to receive that pitch and lay it down as a bunt. And what I see a lot of players doing is naturally they seem to want to leave that bat down around their waistline. And I think the thought process behind that is that's probably where the pitcher's aiming. So the ball is naturally going to end up somewhere in that vicinity. So if I start in that position, there's probably less movement that I have to do in order to make contact with that pitch. But the unfortunate part about that is that by leaving that bat along your waistline, you're still leaving half of your strike zone up above the bat that you're still going to make an attempt to bunt. So as that ball comes in above the bat, naturally the player's hands start flowing upwards towards the baseball, and that increases the risk of creating one of those super weak, super tall pop flies that's a super easy out for the catcher and the pitcher. One of the main points of the bunt is to make sure the ball hits the ground. That way, the runners have a chance to advance, and I have a chance to try to beat it out, where if I pop it up in the air, that's the easiest out in the book. So we want to make sure we're not creating those super easy, weak fly balls. So how do I get out of that? What I train hitters to do is I train them to start with the bat at the top of the zone in line with their letters. And this is going to give them 2 advantages. One, Now that this bat is at the top of the strike zone, it serves as a visual cue for their strike zone. So in the case where I'm not in a hit and run and I'm not forced to bunt this pitch, regardless of whether it's a ball or a strike, I'm still as a hitter, I should still be watching that strike zone and trying to bunt quality pitches. So with that ball at the top of the strike zone, it serves as that visual cue. So any ball that's coming in above the bat, I know it's out of the strike zone and I can just pull back my barrel and it goes as a ball in the at-bat. And that also increases the chances that now I can turn that at-bat into a walk and reach the bag anyway. The other advantage that leaving the hands and the bat at the top of the zone or starting the bat in this position is now if that ball is going to be a strike, it's either going to be level with the bat or below the bat. So if that ball comes in level, it'll contact the bat and eventually hit the ground. Or if that ball is below the bat, the hands of the batter naturally travel down, and that increases the chance of just putting that ball straight in the ground as a soft bunt. And then you're going to have the chance to beat it out and the runners advance, and you get all of the good scenarios that you're trying to get out of a quality bunt. So leave those hands at the top of the zone, and that'll decrease those weak pop flies, and it increases your chance of creating those grounders, keeping the ball in play, and your bunting will be a whole lot better. Another thing that I see players really struggling with when it comes to bunting is as the pitch comes in, they start actually making a forward movement with their hands and the bat towards the baseball. So from the side, it looks something similar to this. And this is what I call stabbing at the ball. That's my personal term for it. I say, hey, you're stabbing at the baseball. And from a bunting situation, we never want to do that. And the reason for that is when we're trying to bunt, really what we're trying to do is create a soft grounder that just finds a hole in the defense where people have to travel really far, and that extends the amount of time that I can run to first base. As I push my hands forward, now I'm creating more force on that baseball, and it's going to turn that light bunt of a grounder into a lot faster rolling grounder, and that gets to the defense quicker. Well, a ball that gets to the defense quicker reduces the amount of time that I can actually make it to first base. So I never want to actually push my hands out because that's going to add speed to that grounder, and there's a reduced chance of me actually getting on first base and beating out that throw. So instead of reaching out, really what we want to do is move the bat up and down. It should never move forward. We're just moving the bat up and down to the elevation of the baseball, and then we let the ball come to the bat. And that'll create, as the ball hits the bat will actually move back just a little bit and absorb that impact, and that creates those nice, slow dribbling bunts that seem to find holes in the defense a lot better. The last tip that I wanted to give you to improve your bunting is when you're working at home, really make sure your eyes are tracking that ball all the way to the barrel. And I know that sounds easy, but when I'm training, I constantly see players struggling with this. For whatever reason, when people square up to bunt, it might just be because they're not used to bunting a whole lot, but when they square up to bunt, it just seems like their eyes freeze on the visual of the pitcher or out into the field, and then here comes the ball and it's in their periphery or their peripheral vision, and you just have no depth perception there. So they end up missing a lot or fouling off a lot, and they really struggle with bunting. Where when you're taking quality reps bunting, that player should be watching the ball straight to the bat every single time, just like they're hitting. So you should almost see their head turning as they watch the ball come in contact with the barrel, and that'll turn someone who really struggles with bunting into someone who's extremely consistent, because we need that hand-eye coordination in order to get the barrel in the correct position to contact that ball. So as you're working at home, really make sure those eyes are tracking the ball to the barrel every single time. Well, that's all I have for you today, guys. As always, I hope everybody learned something. If you've been following along with this entire pandemic video series, remember, don't just watch the videos. Actually take some time to work on baseball each and every day, and it's going to make a huge difference by the time the season actually comes back and you can get back on a diamond. If you like this video, give me a like. If you want to help me reach as many players, parents, and coaches as possible, please give this post a share. And remember to stay positive, stay healthy, and stay on the ball. We'll see you next time.